Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. This channel is proudly sponsored by the following publishers, starting with Shades of Vengeance and their Era Marscape Kickstarter. Era Marscape is pretty much Doom, the tabletop RPG. You play as enhanced soldiers, facing off against unknown demonic threats. It uses the Era D10 dice pool system, which is quite cinematic. And of course, this is the feature of this video. Then we have pt3 Studios, publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have also released the pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG Daughters of Lamb, where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. Next we have the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products, and check out their sword and sorcery game, Savage Swords. It has received a complete makeover. All of the AI assets have been replaced with handcrafted illustrations, layout, everything. All of the links to these amazing publishers will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Of course, this time I am continuing my review series featuring Era Marscape. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review series, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the Era D10 rule set for Era Marscape. The Era D10 rule set has been created to make the process of playing the game as simple and fun as possible. And I have witnessed that. I have played many Era RPGs. Such a fun system, you will see. The Era D10 rule set is designed to be played with multiple 10-sided dice. You have dice pools. The power of the system lies in the number of dice used for each roll. If a character possesses the skill or an action and has strong attributes which apply, achieving successes is virtually certain. So only the most difficult situations will present some nuances concerning the possibility of failure or success. Just like in first-person shooters, just like in Doom, just like in Quake. Many trivial actions are easy to accomplish, but once the bullets start flying, the beams start cutting through the air, then things get very, very interesting and violent. And how many dice do you roll? The number of dice to be rolled for attempting any action is determined by adding the most appropriate attribute for the situation to the most appropriate skill. But you could be thinking, wait a minute, isn't there an exception to this? There are some situations that could be a bit more complex, right? Of course. It could be double an attribute if it's a pure test of strength. Do you see? The system simplifies the complex. Intelligence could also be handled like that. Double your intelligence. That way it covers every sort of task that you could attempt in a session. The Game Master decides which statistics should be used and may impose dice penalties in some situations. For example, an injury could cause a half dice penalty. Yes, you describe your action, and the Game Master calls for a roll. Roll this, roll that. Perfect. As a Game Master that runs this system and other similar systems, sometimes I even give the player a choice. Roll this or that, depending. Now, when it comes to thresholds and successes when attempting a non-trivial action, a threshold which represents the difficulty of the action is defined by the Game Master. A roll is considered a success if it is equal to or greater than this threshold. In the case of easy tasks, the threshold could be 4 or 5. In the case of medium tasks, it could be 6 or 7 and so forth. The number of successes from the roll will define the level of success. Let's say that you obtain 1 or 2 successes. This is a minor level of success. The character succeeds in a simple action. But what if you obtain 5 or 6 successes? This is strong. The character succeeds in a difficult action. The character achieves several outcomes, depending on the context. There is also exploding 10-sided dice. The lowest number on a D10 is 1. So if a dice shows a 0, it means 10, of course. Each 10 awards an additional die, as well as counting a 10 in the result. which will usually be a success. Rolling the exploded dice is optional. Of course, you always want to roll it. I think it will be quite the niche situation when you don't want to roll the additional dice. Because imagine now you roll a 10 and you get to roll again, and if you roll a 10 again, you get to roll again, and so forth. There are also free actions, trivial actions that take little to no time. There are also opposed rolls. They are one of the core mechanics of the Era D10 rule set. They are used when two characters or natural forces, etc., clash directly opposing each other. In this case, both sides roll, and the difference in the number of successes, known as the success margin, between the attacker and the target determines which character is victorious. And the level of success achieved. What about failures and fumbling? Rolling a 1 on any die is considered a failure. If more failures than successes are achieved on a dice roll, the roll is considered a fumble. The severity of the fumble is defined by the difference in number between failures and successes. For example, one more failure than success. This would be a minor fumble. The action cannot be retried. Perhaps the character falls down or ends in a disadvantageous position. But what if you get 3 more failures than successes? Then it's a severe fumble, severe injury, or some sort of negative outcome results from the attempt. The character perhaps loses a limb or takes significant health damage. Maybe there are life-threatening consequences depending on the context. For some rolls, a character may have fewer than 3 dice. If a player is only allowed to roll one die, a failure will automatically be treated as a severe fumble. If a player is only allowed to roll 2 dice, one more failure than successes is a moderate fumble, while both dice being failures is a severe fumble. When a character attempts an action which cannot be completed in 5 seconds, they carry out a continuous roll. This can be amazingly cinematic. The specialist reprograms automated defenses to attack, while the unit fights off a horde. A goal number of successes is chosen, for example 10 successes needed, and the character rolls every combat turn until they reach that number. Stopping or rolling a fumble removes all progress on that roll in most cases. There can be times when the player's choice of action or inaction defines the level of success required. Actively looking for something is significantly more likely to provide a result than passively noticing something. Passive actions generally require 2 more successes than active actions to achieve the same level of success. When a character has no skill points in the required skill, the character can roll the chosen attribute plus luck. Let's see if we can get lucky, right? In an attempt to achieve a lucky outcome. The success threshold for this type of roll is the standard threshold plus 3, making it much more difficult to succeed by luck rather than skill. There are also many other nuances concerning the general rules, such as the size. The Era D10 size system is a logarithmic scale. Each increase in size statistic denotes a doubling of volume. There are also details on when a defender wins. A general principle of the rules is that the defender wins in the case of a tie. This means that if the active character attempts an action and equals the defender, the action fails. This applies both in and out of combat. So this system favors a more defensive approach. When it comes to luck points and bad luck points, for each point the character has in their luck attribute, they automatically have a luck point. These points can be used to modify dice rolls that don't quite go the way the character expected. Luck points are used after a roll during the assessment of the result. Luck points can be used to either add 2 successes to a roll or remove a failure, a result of 1, from a roll. It is recommended that whenever a luck point is spent in a session, the Game Master gains a bad luck point, which can be spent to remove 2 successes. Now, what about taking damage? In Era Marscape, there are 2 types of damage, health and pain. Health damage represents life-threatening injuries. If a character's health boxes are filled with damage, they die. There is also pain damage, which represents pain and fatigue. If all of the character's pain boxes are filled with damage, they will gain both the unconscious and bleeding statuses and begin to die unless stabilized. Pain damage dealt while a character has full pain, for example, unconscious characters being stomped on, is dealt as the same amount of health damage. What about the damage and kill thresholds? Attacks which deal damage and attacks which kill instantly are differentiated by two different thresholds during a damage roll, which happens if an attack hits or automatically if burned by fire, etc. These thresholds are defined by the object or weapon's statistics. When a character is in a situation where damage may be taken, a damage roll is carried out by the attacker, or the game master if the source is inanimate. If any dice is over the kill threshold, the character is instantly killed if the weapon deals health damage, or instantly knocked out if it deals pain damage. I can already remember in Doom, Heretic, Hexen, etc. when you, let's say, move into an area and the ceiling collapses upon you and you're like, It is recommended that players who receive a kill threshold gain full pain damage, some health damage and bleeding status instead of dying instantly. Game Master's discretion. This gives the group a chance to save their ally. I guess it depends on context. If no dice are over the kill threshold, but at least one die is over the damage threshold, the character takes a health or pain damage for each dice over the damage threshold. Pain damage on a character with full pain is dealt as health damage. If no dice achieve the damage threshold, the character's armor, tough skin, or even clothing protects them from harm. Many characters have armor. In this game, armor is ablated as it is used, meaning that if it protects you from damage, you check off one armor box each time. That is great. That is like the first-person shooter. Well, not all of the first-person shooter games, but you have the armor, and as you take damage, it goes down. As a result, armor becomes less useful as time passes, unless you repair it in properly tooled facilities. Also at the Game Master discretion. I think you could also handle it like in pure video game fashion, having some pieces of armor, perhaps scattered around the levels, like in Doom. Specialist engineers get double the successes in the facilities to repair armor. Thanks to the equipment included in your suit, healing any character, including yourself, does not require equipment on a roll of intelligence plus medicine. This doesn't apply to all, all first-person shooter games, but in some, it is quite common. When healing, all pain damage must be healed before the health damage is healed. For each type of damage, one pain damage requires one success to heal. One health damage requires 2 successes to heal. And there are more nuances concerning this healing, but there is a detail concerning demon devouring as well. Demons are able to heal significant pain or health damage by eating compatible food, at the Game Master's discretion, especially humans. So if there are corpses, watch out. They will eat and they will restore health or pain damage. There is also natural healing. Damage can also heal naturally over time as long as the character does not undertake any physical activity. Depending on pain or damage that is pain or health damage that is being healed, you will, in the case, for example, of pain damage, you heal at the rate of 1 damage per every 30 game minutes. But in the case of health damage, it heals at the rate of 1 damage every 4 game hours. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about the status effects and the combat rules. The Era D10 dice pool system works so well with this Doom type of game. It is incredibly cinematic. You have so many over-the-top results. So many things that you can accomplish just by describing your action, and you feel just like in a video game. That way of recovering your armor and your health, your suit is equipped to regenerate yourself based on the check. It keeps the action going. There are very few moments where you actually need to pause. So I think it represents pretty much many first-person shooter game situations like that. Thank you for watching this part of the review series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment as well. And definitely 100% don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. This has been your host, Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you. Remember, the Kickstarter is ongoing. Definitely worth supporting this if you're a fan of first-person shooter games. Even if you're a fan of horror sci-fi, I will also say. So once again, thank you and see you later.